Welcome back everybody to another MOTOBOB video here at EICMA in Milan, the biggest and best motorcycle show in the world, and we're at the Moto Morini stand. Now they've launched quite a few new bikes, and one that's really caught my eye is this, the Milano. It's an update to one of their existing models, but it's absolutely beautiful, loads of interesting details, and so here we go with everything that you need to know about it. So let's start with the engine, and it's their 1200 Costa Corta Evo V-twin, 1187 cc's in capacity, and they say redesigned for the latest Euro 5 Plus emissions regulations. This is also the engine that's used in their new Escape 1200 adventure bike. Looks brilliant as well, so we'll do that in a separate video. But yeah, we're looking at about 125 horsepower claimed. They haven't released any torque specs or any more detailed performance figures, but it sounds pretty ample. They also say with the tune they've tried to focus on giving it a strong and usable mid-range, and so I think it sounds pretty decent for a sort of sporty to mid roadster, and probably decent competition for something like the Ducati Monster, the Moto Guzzi V100 Mandello, or even something like a BMW R1250R. Also, just visually on the engine, have a look at those exhaust headers. I think they look absolutely fantastic. Now onto the chassis, and they say that the frame is a steel and aluminium mix, so you can see a little bit of steel trellis peeping out from under the tank at the front there, but also some aluminium plates in behind, and it does make for an interesting sort of visual feature as well. As for the swing arm, well, they say it's a new aluminium design, and that alone is responsible for 4 kilograms of weight savings. With it being unsprung mass as well, that's going to help the suspension more easily do its job, so it might feel a little better in terms of ride quality. But I will say, even despite that 4 kilogram weight saving, it's still a pretty hefty bike. Again, they don't give really specific figures. They just say that dry, this bike's going to come in at under 210 kilograms. So presumably with fuel and coolant and oil on board, realistically it's going to be up over 230 kilos. Still though, with plenty of punch from that engine, it might still feel relatively quick. Now, as for the chassis hardware, it all looks quite well spec'd. You get a fully adjustable upside down fork, and some of the details here, the visual details like the adjusters on the fork caps and the billet machined yokes really do give it that premium exotic Italian look. And there's a monoshock tucked away at the rear, which I believe is also adjustable. As for braking, it's got 4-pot radially mounted Brembo calipers. They look a little bit like Stalemmas, which are one of their most premium products, and we're talking big dual 320mm discs up front, a Brembo radial master cylinder, which typically gives you a bit more feel and power, and also you get a matching Brembo radially mounted hydraulic clutch lever. At the rear we've got a wavy 220mm disc, you've also got a Brembo caliper there as well, and so yeah, it's all looking pretty snazzy. Now the wheels, of course, with it being a road bike, are 17 inches front and rear, and they've got a similar visual design to the ones that they've shown on their 750 models that are new for 2024 as well. I really like the way they look. They've got these sort of twin spokes, and there's 5 of them. Nice and distinctive, and it's the details that seem to make this bike. And they're shod with Pirelli Diablo Rosso 4 tyres, which in my experience are really pretty good, with a 120/70 at the front and a 190/55 at the rear, so nice and fat. Ergonomically, this is going to be a fairly chilled out bike, I think. It's 800mm in the seat height, so very accessible. It's not going to be super sporty and up and over the front. It's more of a all-rounder roadster type bike, and you can see that in the bar position as well, nice and wide and high up. We don't have one we can sit on here, which is a bit of a shame, but this is a new announcement, so they probably don't want it getting all tatty with people climbing all over it. But I will say one thing just looking at it is the pegs do look relatively high, so maybe they've done that to give it a bit of extra ground clearance for getting a bit of a lean on, but otherwise it does look, like I say, quite upright and easygoing. Now before we get on to the next feature, I just want to say a massive thanks to our sponsors for this week, and that's Insta360 and Metzeler Tyres. Now Metzeler, in my experience, make excellent tyres. We've tested plenty of bikes over the past few years, many of them with Metzelers, and in all the riding I've done, they've never disappointed. Specifically, I've been really impressed with the Sportec M9 RRs for a very sporty and grippy tyre, but they've also got, you know, more practical all-rounders in their lineup, like the Roadtech, which is a bit more sport touring biased and has that all-round wet weather ability. Then you've got the adventure tyres like the Torrance, which is a great, slightly more road-focused adventure touring tyre. The Karoo Streets, which are a bit more on-off, and also the Karoo 4s, which are a really good choice for an adventure bike if you do want to push it a little bit more off-road with some semi-knobblies. So do check out the link down in the description below to see their full lineup. And massive thanks to Metz Tyres for their support. And with that, back to the bike. In terms of tech, they say there are 4 riding modes, each of which affect the power delivery, the traction control intervention, the ABS levels, and it's all managed through that TFT dash, which looks a little bit similar to the one that I've used on their 650 bikes. So the X-Cape 650, the same Metsu, which is like a street bike, and there's also a scrambler version of that as well. Really very good, nice and readable, and it also does have some connectivity features like navigation, and it's all rounded off with LED lighting all round. Really like what they've done here as well. It's got a sort of semi-retro looking round headlight, but with a LED daytime running light around the outside to give it that modern edge, and also like super slim little indicators that make it almost look a bit custom. No price on this one as of yet, which is a shame because that is the all-important context, but I'd imagine, you know, something like the Moto Guzzi V100 Mandela is a very close competitor, and that starts at 13.5 grand up to 15 plus for the more fancy S-Spec version. So this realistically is gonna be in that region, but given how good it looks, I think you might possibly be able to justify it. I hope it goes as well as it looks, because it really is, for me, a proper stunner. As always though, I'd love to know what you think of it, so do let me know down in the comments below. If you want to see all the bikes that we're uploading from EICMA, then do check out this playlist we put on the screen now. Loads of fantastic bikes have been announced for the 2024 model year. Do hit subscribe as well if you've not already, if you want to see all of our videos as soon as they go live. Many thanks for watching this one, and we'll catch you in the next video.